Om Paramatmane Namaha. Om. Salutations to the Supreme Self. Welcome to the 9th class of Unpacking Yoga Philosophy, Teachings and Practices. We've subtitled it Resolve, resolving something. The human body is designed in such a way that it looks outside. As the Upanishad says, the Supreme Lord injured the senses by making them look outward. It is paranchikani vratinata, and that's why people look outside. And what do we see? Everything here in the external world. Tables and chairs, the furniture, the walls, the streets, the houses, everything, the trees and everything. This external landscape, the terrain, is vast. People have been asking, what is the meaning of life? They never will ever get the answer in the external world. The ancient yogis and the philosophers of India understood this, and they turned their gaze inwards. As again the sage says, Kaschid dhira pratyagatmanam aikshat. They turned their eyes inwards. And what do we see outside? And what do we see inside? Just like the terrain outside, the landscape, with hundreds and hundreds of factors molding, remolding this external world, so also is this internal world inside. It is made up of all these valleys and mountains and forests and caves, but who has designed all these things? Yes, we have designed this terrain inside, this psychological landscape inside, by our thoughts, words, and deeds, and desires, and work, either done ignorantly or through knowledge. We are the masters of this inner landscape. And that's the reason why everybody's landscape is unique to that person. And most of us don't realize, but it is this landscape within where you can find the meaning and purpose of life. And this is what yoga proposes, to go inside, because that is the real you. As the human will, through its power, has landscaped this external world, so also we, through our will, have landscaped our psychology. The inner world is even vaster than the external world, much more complex, much more complicated, and at times we do not want to enter inside there, because it contains relics, old relics of everything that we have said and done and thought. And at times the terrain is frightening. Though this is our terrain, this is what really belongs to us, and yet we, in a way, we are more homeless or like beggars here in this our own domain. This kingdom belongs to us. We should have been the kings or the queens, whatever, or the presidents, that's much better. And we are alienated from our own selves because we cannot study that terrain. In yoga, this is the place one has to enter. Yes, now that is a problem. Many people want to know the meaning and purpose of life. They want answers, but they know now where you can get the answers, but paradoxically, they don't want to enter. They are barred from entering into their own domains. Oh yes, so yoga is nothing but the conquest of this psychological terrain. With all those huge, ferocious animals around there, lurking in these forests of the mind, trying to grab you, and we are running away. That's because we have not brought in the light of meditation within. This is what we propose to do in these series of classes, to bring the light within. Now I am going to use three old ancient words, which are of course very ancient but still very current. They are, you see, the external world, when you look at this East Broadway street, and it's so beautiful. I mean, the lawns and the streets and the houses and the trees, they are also picturesque. Beautiful, there's kind of, yeah. But of course, there are some other parts of the city which are not so beautiful. So nature, raw nature, is called prakriti. Pra, it's a prefix, and kriti, that which does. Okay. So we say prakriti, that's nature in its totality. The human will works on this prakriti. Yeah. Otherwise, if left to nature, this place would have become run over by hundreds and hundreds of trees growing amok without any kind of order. And you can get the idea. So it's a human will, human effort that puts some order into nature. This is called samskriti. To polish, to purify, to perfect, to clean. This is samskriti. Culture. Culture is also, so what you do cultures you. Everything done to its perfection is culture, is samskriti, as they say. There are some places, and if we do it properly, of course, and there are some places that are so deformed, kind of desiccated, destroyed, marred, when we do that to nature, that is called Vikriti. That is something which we have spoilt. Meditation is a form of samskriti, a culturation, a purification, a polishing. It's a perfection of this internal psychological landscape of ours, to make it so beautiful, so ordered, so systematic. And this is what is yoga, distilled all over. And the purpose of yoga is this. Now, when we say, okay, just as an aside, the language, the very ancient language is called Sanskrit. That means it is perfected. Why? Because very great minds have worked on that language. The language itself is perfected. Yes, there is no other language as perfect as Sanskrit. That's because many people, great minds, sages have worked on this language in order to perfect it to its finest nuance. So the same effort has to go into this. So just to kind of recap just a bit. So raw nature outside, left to itself, nature will take over everything. This nice beautiful street you see outside, just let go, see what happens. And all the trees and the bushes and the brush and everything will keep on growing like mad. Oh yeah. So raw nature is tamed, is purified, is ordered, is perfected. This is called samskriti. At the same time, we know we are so, we leave such a huge carbon print every day. In a way, we are adding so much carbon to the planet. And to top it off all, piles and piles and tons and billions and tons of trash and garbage. What are we doing here? It is called the Vikriti, the deformation, the destruction. So, to get this perspective correct again, meditation, yoga, is the samskriti. You're taking the raw nature and you're putting it into a kind of a system, an ordered, well ordered whole, where you can maneuver. Right now, the internal landscape, the psychological landscape is, you'll get lost in it. There are terrors, there are dangers. From where you are the creator of this internal landscape. Yes. And if you are the creator, only you can rectify it. No one else. No one can do it. You have the grace of God coming in. Yeah. But then you've got to start. And as you begin, Sri Ramakrishna says, you take one step towards God and God takes 10 steps towards you. But you've got to get a handle on that. You've got to face it. There are many people very successful, very busy and very kind of, famous and all. Ask them to face themselves in the quiet corner, in silent moments. They can't. Their own doings are threatening. So this external terrain outside is vast, very vast. You will not find any meaning in it. I mean, you cannot find any meaning for your life here externally. And that is done only internally. And this is why we talk about yoga. Okay. Now, to give one a kind of a direction, because you're going to go over that old relics of our past. There are something which are beautiful, there are something which are ugly, something which are bad. We got to handle each and everything, take in each and everything and conquer it. That's the idea. So you're going to raise certain structures down. Don't weep over kind of those things. Sometimes you've got to be hard and fast. Some of the things, some of the mistakes that you've done have been mistakes, but they have been great teachers. You will see yourself being led by those ancient teachers of yours. But by and large, you've got to walk alone here. And for that, you've got to do something called, you have to resolve. Now, it's not something like a New Year's resolution. I'm going to do X from tomorrow. And then the day after tomorrow, what? Yeah, I've got short-term memory problems. That's not. Every time you sit down to meditate, you got to make a resolve. Yes. Why? It is directing your energies. It is focusing your energies. It is giving your efforts a kind of a push. Every time? Yes, every time you sit to meditate. And that's the reason why we subtitle this as resolve. Okay, I think that is kind of clear. It's like, okay, to give you an example, you're driving to work or X, a place. You are guided by that thought, yeah, I've got to reach there. At the same time, you're micromanaging all the things, the car, the streets, the traffic, everything else. But you are directed towards that goal. Now, suppose you don't have a direction, you're going to work and you end up in a kind of a picnic or a party. What happened? Oh, where did I come here? How did I? So, it's called, resolve is called a sankalpa. It's you're resolving, I'm going to do this now and I'm not going to get distracted. And the rest is kind of micromanagement that we've been kind of looking at some of these aspects. To give an example of a resolve, in one of my, you can say, Sunday talks, I remember, when the Lord Buddha was repeatedly trying and not being able to fix his mind in that particular supreme spot. What happened was, then he sat down saying, I am going to sit down here. He sat under that great banyan tree, that Bodhi tree. Let my body dry up on the seat. Let my skin and bones and everything wither away. I am not going to move from the seat until I crack the code, as they say, until I reach nirvana, which is difficult in many cycles of creation. So those are the stirring words. Buddha. Yasane shushatu me shariram tvakasti mansam pralayanstayatu aprapya bodhim bahukalpa durlabham naivasanat kaya matascha lipyati. So they say, that which is difficult in many cycles of creation, I am going to sit down and I am going to attain it. This I am not going to leave my seat. This is a kind of a resolve. I know for us, we are sitting down and then the phone rings. How are you? No, when you make a resolve, for 15 minutes or 20 minutes or half an hour, I am going to cut myself from everything else and just concentrate. Okay. This quality time is extremely essential for all of us. We don't give ourselves that time which can really heal us. We are doing everything that is marring us, is detrimental to us, unhealthy to us. So we need to give ourselves a little time. It's good if you can go for a walk, give yourself half an hour, 1 hour, yeah, that's good. But give yourself a little for your internal terrain also, your psychological terrain. It's extremely important because society outside is crushing. It will crush you. It's a mean machine. It's not going to listen to the widow's cries and the orphan's wails. You see what's happened? What happened in Texas? What's all this? These things are indisciplined things. So meditation is putting a kind of a harness, a discipline. You are going to discipline this. Why? To get into perfection. That's all. Like I said, samskrita, to purify, to culture, and to make clean. Okay. That being done. So when you resolve, for half an hour, I'm going to sit down here. This resolution gives one a state of mind, a frame of mind, as I say, a correct attitude. When you sit down to meditate, you've got to sit down with the correct attitude, with the correct, you can say, frame of mind. Otherwise, it's just, you'll be pulled here and there. The first thing that you need to do is think of yourself as extremely strong, mentally, of course, because we've had too much of strength, display of strength outside. Swami Vivekananda says, gives a kind of example or illustration rather, saying, in the old days we had the horse carriages. Which needs more strength, to let go the harness or to pull the harness of the horse's back? You need to have that, you need to tug at that and pull, and the horses are strong. Where are the horses? These, the sense organs, as the Upanishad says, they run. So you got to pull each and every horse back and hold it there. So for that, you've got to think of yourself as strong. Now, the world has been so telling you all the time, you are useless, you are full of faults, they are criticizing you. Nobody talks about a person's strength. They are always trying to fragment you, pull you down, destroy you. So with this huge, you can say, waves of negativity that are surging around you, you've got to be like a rock there. And that is the correct frame of mind, a correct attitude while meditating. Otherwise, what happens is, I am sitting down and thinking of hundreds of other things. That is, the waves are surging over you and taking you down. So you got to be firm as a rock, as they say, rock solid. Now you can think of yourself as made of light. You're a luminous being. You are a child of God. You're a part of God. You're a soul. You're a part of the Supreme Soul. Whatever gives you strength, it is this attitude, this frame of mind that one has to meditate. Otherwise, meditation will be like, like Sri Ramakrishna says, like you have this flattened rice. You pour water and it becomes even soggy. Our efforts and everything will be like soggy. Yeah. And then we say, I've been meditating for 10 years. You have not been meditating for 10 years. Sorry, sir. So this frame of mind is essential, and that comes through a resolve, and that comes through the idea, the dare that I am going to go inside and I am going to find my cognates in time and space. I am going to get to know myself. I am going to understand, is life just destiny? Is life free? Is life bondage? What? So the answers you will get. This is yoga. This is going inside. I've spent a little more time than what I normally do, but I just wanted to emphasize this aspect, because we sit down, we've been seeing the various steps towards the practice, but what exactly is the practice? What is the method? Like you could just cut through all these kind of this difficult terrain inside. Yeah, I can take a kind of a saw and electric saw and cut through a tree outside, and that has a kind of a effect on the external terrain. I've got to do the same thing inside. Cut that. Okay. So as usual, I generally insist on doing a little practice along with the talking. It gives me also a rest and gives you also a rest. But yeah, let's and I'll go through. It's like a kind of a checklist. If you don't have anything to note down, you can go back to the YouTube and go through the sequence again. The sequence is, I'll tell you in advance, and then we will practice it. The first thing is sit straight with your body, neck and head aligned. Okay, that's the first step. Then you become aware of your body. The third is become aware of one's breath. That's the third. Then half close or close your eyes. That's the fourth. And the fifth is fix the gaze here at a point just outside your chin or somewhere here. The external gaze. Relax all your facial muscles and put a half smile on your face. Yeah, it's not a torturous activity. It's a kind of a joyous activity. Yeah, I see some people like they're sitting down very tortured and bent. And take it easy. Keep everything still, especially one's fingers. You know, there's something called the hand-eye movement. We won't go into the dynamics of this brain centers, but if your eyes shift, your fingers also. Relax the tongue in the mouth. That is also important, because we may hear something, or a thought just flits through the mind and we articulate that thought. We put that thought into words and the tongue slowly moves. So these are mechanical things that will give us tremendous stability. Then, okay, become aware again of your breath and listen to the sound of your breath. And then start from the diaphragm, stomach. Feel this, your diaphragm rise and fall. Go up higher. Feel the rib cage expand and contract. Feel the breath in the throat and feel the breath again in the nostrils. Okay. Now, when you come down to this, we are going to, at the same time, through the mind's eye, look within. Okay. I think that will kind of. And I've got something for you. That when you look at something within, you're going to look at something like this. There's a golden light inside. This size. It's exactly here. To give you just again. So everything is stilled outside, but your attention is inside. We'll do something more of this later. That's my gold medal. I got, for what? Running for peace. Okay, let's do this sequence quickly. Okay, just we'll go. Okay, sit down straight, please. Keep your neck, head, and body in a straight line. And be perfectly still. Let not the urge to do any movement arise. Become aware of your body. Feel the sensation of touch all over. Now let that go. Become aware of your breath. Don't force it. Just breathe normally. With your eyes closed, gaze at the tip of your nose or a point just outside your chin. Don't visualize anything. Just that point, an abstract point out there. No visualization. Relax your tongue, please. And relax all your facial muscles. And smile. Half smile. Feel yourself as perfectly immobile, still. Don't tap your fingers. Now listen to that sound of your own breath. Now feel your diaphragm moving up and down with each breath. Don't force any movement. You're doing it naturally. Get into the rhythm. Feel your rib cage expand and contract. Let go the diaphragm. Feel your breath within the throat. Now feel your breath within the nostrils. Now direct your mind's eye deep within the center of your chest and see that golden ball of light. Plunge in. Okay, become aware of your breath, please. Take long, deep breaths. Wriggle your toes and fingers. And welcome to planet Earth. I think that was an exercise. I kind of compressed it. We get the idea. When you practice it, do it comfortably. Give yourself a little time. And I said, yeah, don't tap your fingers, and you tap your fingers. The mind works like that. You say something, don't do that, the mind wants to do that. So remember, when you are practicing the meditation, this techniques at home or wherever, see that you keep on directing yourself. Okay? After you have visualized that golden ball of light, then make a resolve. This is the sequence. Okay? And now you'll see you're getting focused on that particular aspect. It's orienting yourself there. This is the idea. Okay. Do you have any questions here? Yeah.
How do we successfully establish and maintain that resolve you're talking about?
Yeah, the question is, how do we sustain that resolve and do it, the kind of a restatement every time? Yes, as you start, it is more you are graduating to higher and higher levels. You take up one idea that I am the child of God, okay, and I'm meditating on God. This is, and I don't want any interference now. I'm going to put my entire energy here inside. Do that, and then slowly you will find yourself getting better and better and better. Then you can change the resolve. Okay. Yeah, I'm a part of God. Why child? Why? I'm a child. I'm a part of God. Yeah, God is my oversoul. I am a soul. So you will find as you proceed, you yourself are going to shift the goalpost further and further away as you proceed. You're going to do that, shifting the goalpost. No one else is going to do that. Don't worry. Okay. The question in the last class, you mentioned that every time we come out of meditation, we come out with knowledge. What does that mean? Yes. The word for meditation, meditation is kind of loosely translated in yoga as dhyana. Dhyana is, how do you put it, is tremendous concentration and focus and a one-pointedness. So the other side of dhyana is jnana, knowledge. Every time, it's not only in meditation. The Bhagavad Gita says, all forms of work end with knowledge. Everything you do ends with knowledge, either positive or negative. I mean, detrimental or will help you. So every time you are doing some activity, you are getting some knowledge of yourself, of your mind, of how the ego is functioning, or how the intellect is kind of watching the whole thing, and how the memories are coming out. You're coming away with knowledge of yourself. This is the idea of dhyana, jnana. So it's the obverse and reverse of the same thing. If you don't, that means you're not meditating properly. Simple as that. You've fallen asleep, whatever, or you're too distracted. So you plunge in, and you will find, if you do it properly, you are going to come a better person outside. Swamiji, I still have difficulty to keep gaze at the chin point and medal of light in the center of chest at the same time. Who told you to do that at the same time?
This is also my question.
Yeah, thank you. There's a friend here also, she says that's it. When I'm taking you to the next stage, you give up the previous stage. Okay. Now that gives me the cue that the next class will be the art of direction. You heard of magicians giving the art of misdirection? They use the art of misdirection. I'm going to give you the art of direction. So hold on till the next class. Okay. So, you have, just to give you a kind briefly, when I'm asking you to shift your attention to this place, you automatically give that up. You cannot do two things at one time. In a previous class, I showed you these two profiles, when like these two profiles facing each other. We've seen this kind of illusion. You either see these two profiles or a goblet. You cannot see both of them together. So when you say, I have difficulty to keep gaze, naturally, you will not be able to see two things at the same time. You will always see one. Okay, thank you for the clarification. Okay, we have a friend here.
Is Nam Smaran not only important than meditation? I mean, is it necessary to do both?
Yeah, now the question is the repetition of God's name, Nam Smarana, the remembrance of God's name, is it important to know? Well, that is part of this series. Now, if you have been invested with a mantra, do it. And if you have not, continue, and then I will come down to one part of this. The future section will be on how to do japa, how to repeat God's name. In fact, when I was in LA, I had done a series of classes, I think 20, on mantra yoga. Mantra yoga 1, which consisted of, I think, 15 classes, and then mantra yoga 2, which is also considered 30 classes. The inner dynamics of repeating the mantra. Those who are interested could go to the Vedanta Society of Southern California, their website, or just kind of go to the YouTube. And so mantra yoga. So the question was how it is the most powerful medium to tackle anything and everything and reach perfection. Holy Mother says, Japat Siddhi, that is, through japa, through repetition of God's name, one attains perfection. So it is. So these classes have been begun to give the person the very basics, and then slowly take them into kind of an ascending order where one can meditate or do japa or something like that. About this repetition of God's name, just briefly, you must dwell on the meaning. Now, people repeat it. Patanjali in his yoga aphorisms is very clear. Tad japas tadartha bhavanam. That is japa, where the meaning of the mantra is dwelt upon. It is not just a repetition. It's the dwelling on the meaning. Okay? So the question is, what is the difference between japa and meditation? Oh my God. Japa leads to meditation, as Sri Ramakrishna says. And you will see that at one point of time, the japa, the repetition of God's name, just stops and you merge into deep meditation. So one leads to the other. Okay. So thank you all very much.